I'm Charles McNeilly, Mayor of Rockaway Beach, and I'm running for re-election. When I ran for mayor in 2022, I promised increased opportunities for community members to provide input to city government and improve channels of communication from city government to community members. City Manager Shepard and I hosted monthly coffee with manager and mayor sessions to hear what's on your mind. I delivered 2 annual State of the City messages. I am a regular contributor to our city newsletter, and I deliver a monthly update on your city government's activities and accomplishments. I pushed for, and the city held numerous town halls and open houses for the Salmonberry Trail, Jetty Creek Watershed, strategic planning, and more. In short, our beloved community has had more opportunities to know what city government is doing and have had more opportunities to shape city government than with any other administration. I spoke about the need to have abundant clean water. I worked to have the city start the process of taking control of our primary source of drinking water, the Jetty Creek Watershed, including a citizen advisory committee assisting with the writing of a source water protection plan. As the chair of City Council workshops and meetings, I provided an efficient, professional, and effective environment within which the City Council could do your business as your governing body. City staff prepared and City Council passed 3 proclamations, 61 resolutions, and 6 ordinances just this past fiscal year. The City Council productivity is the highest it has ever been. In Rockaway Beach, we have a city government that is continuously moving forward and improving. We have a city manager who has built an exceptional leadership team and staff. We have a government culture of collaboration, cooperation, and service to our community. We have a city that is headed in the right direction. I look forward to continuing the work I began in 2023 over the next 2 years. Thank you for your time and attention.
It's on mute. Have you found the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, try it now.
There.
Test? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Are we good?
There's something named Craig that still has their mic. Oh, yeah, Craig needs to mute.
Yeah, Craig, could you mute yourself? Okay, Jim, if you can mute yourself. Good. Oh, they keep going.
It's not music.
I just muted.
Okay, so now are we all muted? We're all muted. Okay.
Here, a second. Here's my friend.
Thank you.
Make sure there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, now some questions. So a SWOT analysis of Rockaway Beach. Give me 2 or 3 strengths, 2 or 3 weaknesses, 2 or 3 opportunities, and 2 or 3 threats.
So strengths is our location on the Pacific Coast. We're ideal for tourists to come and enjoy themselves. Another strength is our community, are the people that live here, are resilient, welcoming, and third strength would be our city leadership and staff, blessed with probably the best city manager in Tillamook County, and he has amassed city hall staff that is second to none. Opportunities.
Weaknesses, actually.
Oh, weaknesses.
So you were just do the positive. Sorry.
Well, I think one of our weaknesses is that we have a disjointed business community. We have the Chamber of Commerce, we have the Rockaway Beach Business Association, and then we have those businesses who choose not to belong to either of them because they find it a little bit crazy. I think that's one of our biggest weaknesses. Another weakness which we're addressing is source water, having control over Jetty Creek. We typically in the summer overuse water and have to use backup wells, and so access to clean, abundant water is for us. And I guess the third one is I would love to see even more improvement in our downtown facades to make it more attractive to tourists. So opportunities.
Thank you.
Our city staff has become very, very skilled at procuring grants. For example, we got a $2.8 million loan to do the Nadana Beach water main replacement project. Half of it's forgivable, which is huge. The grants that we procure to work on acquiring the Jetty Creek watershed are impressive. So our ability to get grants is very good. What's going on?
Do another opportunity fundraiser. Move on to Front City.
Excuse me, if you could speak up louder, the people in the, on Zoom can't quite hear you.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think we're managing these, but like a lot of cities in this country, we have aging infrastructure, water and sewer, and so we're on top of it. We're working on updating our sewer and water master plan to address it, and as I mentioned, the Nadana Beach water main project is another example. So our city leadership's on top of it, but it is a threat to our city. Okay. We earn a lot of lodging tax, and because we had a lodging tax in place before the state passed their 30-70 split, we're able to use about half of it for city services. That's good news, but the bad news is that's not a stable source of revenue, and it's never optimal to pay for operational services with an unstable source of revenue. Now, City Council took steps to address that with a rainy day fund that's been put in place, but that is a threat that we manage and monitor should we have a downturn in economy and lodging taxes.
All right. How can Rockaway Beach manage the impacts of climate change? There is an ongoing loss of beachfront, and you only have so many buildable lands. With rising sea levels and erosion, what are your views of adding riprap or armoring on the
Well, we're limited to what we can do on the beachfront. That's the Oregon Parks and Recreation. And so, quite frankly, I'm not giving much thought to it. It's not particularly painless. Our action with the watershed, watershed, we're taking it because we do recognize that climate change can for us. So that's a firm step. Climate change.
What is or what should Rockaway Beach be doing to prepare for the Cascadia event?
Well, we're built out a CERT team. We're building out our capabilities, preparation, and the primary thing that we're doing is the high ground. The city purchased 10 acres just to the east of city limits, brought it into the city limits, and we'll be in our fire department there. We'll be building facilities to serve people who are displaced during a tsunami or quake event. Emergency lines. The second thing about that also is Indy's going to be able. What else we might use for such an activity?
Do you or your family members own an STR or work for an STR management? And STR is short-term.
No, my wife or my family own short-term rental property, nor do we work for property.
STR licensing fees are a barrier to some residents. They allow the rich to get richer while cutting off an opportunity for others. What will you do to create a more equitable situation?
Well, first, you got to make sure your fees are covering the costs, and so that's just a critical factor. So we have to make sure that the fees that are coming in are covering the cost of what you serve. That's why the fees are based on dollars. We are planning in the latter half of next year per our resolution to revisit our short-term rental ordinances, our fees, our cap. I know Councilor McInnes has talked about wanting to have a tiered approach, and for people who run, you might call them operations with treatment. So I think there's opportunities to visit that.
Along the same lines, there are a lot of questions about short-term rentals, since that's been a big issue here. Since Rockaway was the very last jurisdiction to limit the number of STRs. This is a long question. Nothing, Rockaway was the last jurisdiction. 6.2% of STR owners are Rockaway residents, 64% of STR owners are Oregon residents, and about 30% live outside Oregon as far as the numbers. What is your position on placing the cap on STRs, and why do you think this is good or not good for the city?
It's about balance. It's about balancing our need to have housing for tourists and protecting our community and our residential neighborhoods. And so that's what a cap does. We specifically selected 411 as the cap because that was the number of STRs licenses we had last summer, 2 summers ago now, when we had record tourism. So we supported record tourism with 411 licenses. So again, balance. And next year we will take a cap and make sure that we balance between supporting tourism, supporting our local businesses, and maintaining our neighborhoods.
Mentioned the downtown area. Notice that a lot of businesses have reported that this year was just okay. And a lot of visitors, but not a lot of spenders. What can Rockaway Beach do to support our businesses?
If nationwide data supports that, people traveled, people didn't spend money. I've talked to a half dozen businesses. One business told me they had a record year. Another business said their sales were half, but we saw as many people in town as they've ever seen before. Restaurant, I was getting big groups, 6, 7, 8, but they buy 4 meals and share them. So people just were not spending the money they spent.
And what did Rockaway Beach do to help with that?
The city? Well, we do spend a tremendous amount of money and effort on tourism. I'm not sure there's anything to get them to open up their wallet.
The nature of the tourism, right? Along the same lines, there are a lot of for sale.
Can I just add one?
Sure.
So one of the things we did do to make sure visitors knew where they could shop, where they could eat, where they could sleep, and what to do in town was our QR code program. The QR codes throughout the community, motels, short-term rentals, businesses, we're putting them on our wayfinding signs so that a visitor can scan that code and instantaneously look at their smartphone and make decisions about where they're going to eat, where they're going to shop, which opens it up because they'll discover places that they may not have existed as a result of giving them easy access to our official. Thank you.
There are a lot of for sale signs along the main street, along 101 in Rockaway. What is being done to encourage more businesses in Rockaway?
Well, there's foundational things that are taking care of the industry. That bubbled up in our strategic initiative plan, doing something to help promote businesses and help businesses. So I fully expect as we do the strategic plan that the projects will back to the same.
The non-incumbent candidate platforms have insinuated that current city government excludes or does not listen to all citizens, that all citizens do not receive equal treatment, and that genuine citizen engagement is missing from the current administration. It may be that these are just personal gripes behind these views, but can you give us an example of one of these alleged instances in which all voices may not have been heard? What is really at the bottom of such insinuations? Are they true?
I can't give you an example, but I can tell you what's going on in the city. So beginning with City Council instituting workshop, a monthly workshop in December of 2022. Every month, council comes together, they have a conversation about resolutions that are coming forward, ordinances are coming forward. We're working right now on upgrading our community grant program. So there's a very clear opportunity for residents to view real time or what the council is thinking about. And then they have an opportunity to reach out to the council members and share what their thoughts are. We have very much pushed our city email list so people can sign up for the city email and they'll get information pushed to them. They'll get agendas and meeting materials, workshops at the council meetings that they can do in advance, and then take the steps to talk to council members about what they would like to see in the city. The annual State of the City message provides information out to the community about what's going on, monthly update on what's going on in city activities and accomplishments. All information that citizens can then use to connect with their councilors and have a conversation. I know all of the councilors, including myself, as welcome that. I talked in my opening statement about the town halls, the open houses, the strategic planning initiative, all opportunities for people to input and give a sense of where they see the development. I don't think that's what they're saying is true. People choose to be involved or not be involved, but there's no litmus test in our city whether your ideas are considered.
Several of the opponents of the incumbents have stated that part of their platform is to promote ADUs as a solution. In fact, the city already permits ADUs, and ADUs are being encouraged throughout the county. All jurisdictions have claimed that our utility services are too small to be able to afford to waive systems development charges, these charges for ADUs. Do you envision any other ways to incentivize and facilitate the building of ADUs in Rockaway?
We're doing a system development charge study now to evaluate if our system development charges do adequately compensate the city for the development. And one of the things we are having engineering firm is look at ADUs as a separate. So we may find out of the study that we can charge less system development charges for ADUs. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we wanted to take a look at it in the interest of promoting. People have to want to have a renter living on their property in a building. Not everybody wants to do that. We've actually had a fairly substantial number permitted by the city over the last year. So ADUs are being built. what I think is even more important than promoting ADUs, which I think is a good solution, short term, and long term, is the whole general idea of finding ways to promote moving from an STR to a long term conversation. Academy is actually starting to think through and work at the state level. The state might do to incent people to take their short term rental. The other thing that we need to do is help people understand how to be a renter, how that works, what the process is, how they find good renters. We all have heard the horror stories of what can happen. We have to help them with tools and information to make people more willing to rent out.
In campaign literature, social media, and websites, it would appear that most of the candidates' goals are either identical or very similar to goals of the current incumbents. These all sound great, but what distinguishes you from your opponents?
That I truly am open and willing to listen. I demonstrated it during my two-term date. I genuinely engagement, civility, diversity. I said this before. Rockaway Beach, we have room for everyone. That's a core principle to live into that intent. Collaborative. I think I demonstrated that.
Questions I have, they kind of rapid fire through them here. So I'm going to put out to the audience if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask.
Charles, Michael Stern, about the Cedar Creek area. Two-part question. What have you been frustrated most with during your time with me? That could be maybe an issue or a problem you just have not been able to at, or could be something that's not made any movement with it all. The second part of the question, you're most proud of.
Things don't move fast enough. And decades of corporation where you can make things happen faster. So that's my biggest. I've had to learn that I have to be patient. There are processes in place. I get a lot of help from our city reporter, Melissa Thompson, and from city manager Shepard to make sure I color within the lines because I just want things to happen fast. What was this? The second one? Second part of your question?
What's your most proud of?
Oh, wow.
You could make a list.
Well, no, I really love the manager and mayor coffees. That's at or near the top. It's really a valuable experience. Things got done. We have an amended wildlife feeding ordinance because of that. People's problems got solved because they were able to talk to us in an open, friendly environment. So that I'm very proud of. I love writing the monthly updates. I really enjoy pulling those together to our community, all the incredible things that are going on. So I feel really good about that. And if I can continue with the third, our meetings, I'm really proud of how productive, effective, efficient our workshops and our council. So that's where the governing happens. I've been able to, as chairman.
The virtual viewers have asked that you hold your microphone.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right.
Any other question?
I'm gonna ask a question. I know we hear a lot of complaints that Rockaway got rid of their police department, and a lot of people don't know the background and how that came to be. But do you have plans in the future that you would like to bring a police department back to Rockaway?
So we all know we woke up one morning and our police department's gone. I ran for mayor, is I didn't like the fact that I hadn't heard about it ahead of time. Didn't have a chance to input, maybe provide some solutions. But talk about not getting to be part of the process. That's a really good example of that part of that. Currently, as all of you know, a contract with the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office. We currently have 2 patrol officers we're contracted for. We had our 3rd officer in field training after passing academy, after passing psych and background, strength, education tests, and he failed the field. And they had to let him go, which was the right thing to do. I wouldn't want to, we don't want anybody passed on just to pass them on. I say that to just emphasize it is not easy to hire police officers. It takes time. And we see that with, I mean, the Sheriff's Department would love to have 4 patrol officers here. They're working on it, but it doesn't happen quickly. If the community, and we may see this in the strategic plan, wants us to look at bringing back our own police force, I'd be happy to support that. But everybody needs to understand that the budget we currently have for the Tillamook Sheriff's Department will not cover a police department. We would, of course, hire 4 officers, hire a police chief. They need administration support. They need office space. They need equipment. All that would have to be purchased because we sold all that equipment to the Sheriff's Department. One of the reasons fans need this people have police departments, they pay a premium for their officers to recruit and retain. So yes, I'd be happy to support that if that's what I can do. But everybody needs to understand we're going to have to find additional revenue to support our own police department.
Just in regards to is there any benefit or non-benefit to having the situation other than monetarily? I mean, do we feel that we're not being covered? Is that the story? I guess you don't.
No, but let me opine a little bit. No, let me opine. I don't sense a great crime wave going on in Rockaway Beach. One of the advantages to having the Sheriff's Department, and they would respond if we had our own police department that needed help, but we do have the entire Sheriff's Department to support us. They provide, if somebody needs to take vacation, they bring other officers. So there's an advantage there. But what I feel we don't get is that sense of community policing. And when I talk to people, that's what they talk about. They don't talk about maybe feeling safer, but they talk about the police officer getting out of the street and talking to the kids. So we have conversations.
Yeah, I just couldn't close
We're working on it.
but I had a hard time hearing. I was just
if we had a police chief reporting to our manager, they would report directly. That help?
As Laura alluded to beginning of the forum, that there is a lot of misinformation, primarily on social. And I think it's admirable that we, the mayor, and city councilors, most of the city councilors, kind of stay out of the fray. But I wonder, is there something that the city can do to combat that disinformation? Is there, could we hire a teenager who's savvy about social media to put out additional to sort of combat that
Walk in the beach, walk in the beach.
and that kind of thing. Because I think people knew things like, well, we can have more police, but you're going to have to pay for it. Those kinds of, things.
Certainly, the city could hire a communication director to help with that. But would that be the best next hire? And Would it be better to hire a public works director, just to throw out another, or would it be better? Well, that's the only one that comes to mind. But the idea is figuring out what is the best next hire for the city. I'm hoping my monthly report helps with that. Part of why we're doing it, it's information out in the community. We all know with a vacuum, people make stuff up. So that's intended to help fill the vacuum with accurate information about what's going on in the city. But yeah, I don't go on social media. The League of Oregon Cities is very clear. Recommendation not discuss city business on social.
And I can kind of speak to that since I run an online news source and then I also do social media. And frankly, social media is a necessary evil. That's how I consider it. A good example of what happens when we put out communications or put out information, we can put the information out there, but we can't make them read it. And then we can't also, we can't help them comprehend it. And so that also is a real issue. And a good example is with this forum. Robin told Michael, we're blowing up this afternoon. We didn't know we had to request the Zoom link. I wanted to control who had the Zoom link. I did not want to put the Zoom link out on social media for everyone. But again, people didn't read, even though we put it in we put it everywhere as far as what they used to do. Right. So it is a great challenge with any type of communication nowadays. I feel like we're really fortunate on the Pioneer. I feel like our readers are readers. I think they're looking for information they're trying to educate themselves. So we do have that as an advantage. But it's just very, very challenging to get the messaging out there. We're usually really good about getting the information out there, but it's a challenge. So.
Ask a question. So how many in the audience here have signed up for the city's email list? Okay, put your hands down. How many haven't signed up for it? Well, you're in the thick of it. You get a pass. Well, that's great. I'm actually delighted to see that virtually everybody here has signed up for it, because I think it's one of the most important things from a communication standpoint that the city started promoting 2 years ago. And I'll take some credit for that. It pushed City Manager Shepherd to focus on it, talked about it a lot, continue to talk about it, because it really is the best way to be engaged with the community. You can always delete something that gets sent to you, but if you don't get it, you don't know.
Well, and I make a point with pieces that I get, and you may have noticed it with some of the pieces that we've gotten, where I will put an editor's note on something when it is blatantly false. If it is misinformation, I will asterisk it and I will call it out. I'll print it. I will print it, but I'm going to call it out. Because of that, because it is such a problem in the media, and because so much of the media is about clickbait and about being first and I want it first and foremost to be the truth and to be accurate. And so I'm not in that big rush to get that information out. I will not post things unless they're from an official source. I also am really conscious about that. So there's things that we can do, but then, it's on people to actually read the information. And I think that's what's happened with a lot of these cases. We put the information out there, but people I didn't see it. So therefore the city's hiding it. And there was another question over here. Yeah.
So, every once in a while you hear somebody say something nice about you, but oftentimes.
Wow.
I didn't mean that. But you know how it sounded. But oftentimes people don't say nice things about you, primarily on social media. I know you're not doing this for the paycheck. So why do you want to be mayor of
I really, really think we have a wonderful, wonderful community here. And I believe that I'm making a difference. I'm helping move the city forward, and I don't want it to go backwards. And so I ran, when I first, so when I ran the first time, I of course checked with Sue, my wife, make sure she was good with it, and she was. And I promised her I was only going to be one and done. Run. Didn't think I was going to win, but I won. So when I was packing up my yard signs stuff and getting prepared to throw them away, she says, "No, you better keep them in case you want to run again." So as we moved into the election season, I really became concerned that there were some forces in the community that would not keep the city moving forward. I don't mean to be negative, but I'm running because I really believe in City Manager Shepherd and his staff and his leadership team, and I want to be there to support him because what he's done for our community is incredible. From bringing us back from the brink of bankruptcy to now having incredibly solid financials. I mean, we didn't get a $2 million loan because our city finances were in trouble. I worked for a bank. Lending agencies don't give money to organizations that don't have capacity to pay. So we're in great shape, and I want to be part of continuing that upward direction.
We have a question from one of the virtual attendees.
Yes.
Charles mentioned how productive the city workers are on grants. Could he elaborate on his support of our great city staff and plans for the future?
One of the things about our charter is that council members, councilors, and the mayor, their point of contact into the city and the city staff is the city manager. And so the primary way I support our city staff is by respecting our charter. And my interaction is with City Manager Shepherd. If I have a question or a concern, it's a conversation I have with him. Now, if I feel like I want to talk to, for instance, I had a meeting with Captain Grace about emergency preparedness. Perfectly fine for me to have that meeting with him. He actually asked for the meeting. But I don't go past that barrier unless I first seek permission from Luke and explain to him why I might want to sit down with Chief Hesse or Superintendent Emerson. So my support of the city staff is by honoring the charter and having my conversations with the city manager.
Another institution that apparently used to be part of the city that I keep hearing some of the unincumbent candidates speak about is a Parks and Rec department, which I don't think existed since I've been here for 5 years. I don't know why it went away, and I don't know what are the pluses and minuses of bringing it back. Can you shed some light on that?
Yes, we did have a Parks and Recreation department. It was focused on the youth, providing activities, I believe, mostly in the summer. We had a Parks and Recreation director. The department was severely underfunded. They did spaghetti dinners and other types of fundraising events to support it. At some point, the city decided to dissolve it. I don't know what went into that decision, but the decision was made to dissolve the department. In talking to the community members, there is a great interest in having more all-age activities. I think it's going to show up in our strategic plan that there's a great interest in that. People want the opportunity for wellness activities, connected activities. So I think there's an opportunity there for the city. One of the fastest ways, and this was back to, there's no free lunch. What do we give up to get it? Or do we get additional revenue? But one of the fastest ways to bring that into our community is to partner with NCRD and extend their boundaries to include all of Rockaway Beach. But there would be a cost to the residents to do that. But if, again, keep mentioning the strategic plan, if it comes out of that strategic plan that they want a Parks and Recreation Park, we'll figure out, we'll talk to the community, what does it look like, what do they want, how much is it gonna cost, and how are we gonna fund it?
There was one on the, Zoom.
Yes. The Wayside Beach Access Project has been discussed for many, many years, but now the city has implemented it. Please comment on the people involved with making this happen, finally. Was a grant involved? Also some counselors are claiming credit. How did it really come about?
Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, I would point to City Manager Shepherd. Really came about because of him and his focus on wanting to improve accessibility in the city. A lot of councilors have promoted it. A lot of councilors have made it a priority, but it's happening because of our city leadership and City Manager Shepherd. I believe we're using transient lodging tax to do some of it. But I would point back to City Manager Shepherd as the primary driver for us to get him here. Has anybody gone over and looked at it? Yeah, I want to. It's really fascinating what they're doing there. Yeah, you should take, if you get down to the wayside, go walk down and take a look at it. I'll also tell you. My neighbor Lou, it's a vacation home, really nice family. He was complaining to me about the foot washing stations not being very good. Mm-hmm. So I took that to Lou and said, or City Manager Shepherd, City Manager Shepherd, and said, you know, I had a neighbor who was telling me that our foot washing stations aren't very good. And so we're going to get brand new foot washing stations at the wayside as a result of a community member communicating with me and me taking the idea to the city manager. And that's a big part of what I play in the community. People come to me, there's an issue, a problem, a challenge, and then I try to help facilitate getting it solved.
Questions? Concerns? Comments?
I would thank the mayor for showing up.
Yes.
I just want to tell Mayor Charles that the city would be so proud of you, and I'll send some information on social media, and I can speak, you know, for City Gregory's family. Ms. Kirby, one of my closest and dearest friends, that there's been some talk of me. She would be so happy with what's going on. She would be extremely happy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Cindy was a special human being. It was a great loss for a community with cancer return, and she couldn't take the councilor seat, but she worked so hard to earn and win in the election, and she was a wonderful partner with me during our campaign. And miss her a lot. Thank you.
Wow. That's just another comment is that I feel so fortunate to have such a well-rounded individual, our mayor, and who understands so many different aspects instead of just looking at one thing. And I just think and feel that we're so fortunate to have it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and that goes for, because we are a county-wide newspaper, so I cover all of the municipalities and I cover all of the other cities. And I have to say that for me, it's a pleasure to get the updates and the information and everything that I get. So the flow of information that I get as a media person from the city of Rockaway Beach is better than any of the other municipalities in, none of the other, even the county can be a little difficult to get them to send me information, but there is, and that's what I think most frustrates me with all the social media buzz, is that them saying that they're not transparent, that they're not communicating, and nothing could be farther from the truth. You can compare them to any of the other municipalities, and then I want you all to know too, because I know everybody says, oh, the problems in Rockaway. let me tell you, they are in every single city. There is stuff going on that is very interesting and very challenging in every single city. So you should be very proud of what's going on now in Rockaway. Because from my experience, and I'm born and raised, so I have watched all of the drama in Rockaway over many, many decades, and the last few years have been the most productive years that I've seen in this town. So,
I just want to thank you. And I think also, she went through hell and back to get it all done.
you say, yeah, I understand what journalists end up being alcoholics. I will admit, I was taking sips off of whiskey a couple of evenings after some emails and some phone calls. So yeah, I have been, but I'm very tough. I have quite the armor from doing this for so many years. And I also know that I'm standing in my truth, and I know where I'm coming from. So I don't have any problem with it.
Well,
I do too.
We all thank you. A couple of comments from
Okay.
the virtual people. I've had Air says, well done. I appreciate the mayor attending in such a positive summary of accomplishments of his administration. And also, Craig says, please thank the mayor for his participation, his proactiveness, his openness, and his organizational abilities. We have seen more progress this year in Rockaway than in many years past. Kudos.
Thank you.
Yay. Terrific. Well, this was good practice. Wednesday is going to be interesting. Just saying. So I hope you all will join us on Wednesday when we have a full table up here. And please send me any questions that you'd like to have. I do appreciate having them in advance. We're happy to take them to go, but it's great to have them in. Editor at Tillamook County Pioneer.
May I just say a few closing?
Yes, you can make your closing statements.
Well, I mean, first of all, I just want to thank Tillamook Pioneer and Lord Swanson, the Rockaway Beach Resort. This is a lovely facility up here. Thank you for that, and all those who work to make this Mayor Cannon Forum possible. Thank you all for attending and taking time out of your day to come and sit here, listen to me drone on. I do appreciate it. I do ask for your vote. You know, I've begun some wonderful things in this community, and I want to continue to make that happen for all of us, because this is really a wonderful, wonderful place to live. But I also want to ask you to vote for Mary McGinnis, Tom Martine, Kylie Conroff, Alicia Frank, and Penny Sheep, so that we can really truly come together as a community in a collaborative, sharing way and drive this city forward. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
So we know how we change the name.
That audio. Okay. 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 We'll look at the audio. Okay. We want to make sure that we have that